I have 7 o'clock, and if we're all ready, I'll call the meeting to order. Can I ask the clerk to call the roll, please?
Mayor Patricelli,
Present?
Councilman Torricello,
Present.
Councilwoman Diamond.
Present.
Okay, the first order of business will please stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. First order, we'll ask the minutes of the previous meeting to be read.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
And I'll second that.
Okay, well, clerk call the roll.
Councilman Torricello,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor. First under the agenda will be the reports of officers and committees. Do we have
Okay,
any?
I'll give a couple of things that I'm working on, and then we'll turn that over to Mark too to talk a little bit about stuff that he's got on his desk as well. I think everyone knows, on Tuesday, we took delivery of our new sanitation truck, which was donated, kindly donated by Mr. Scott Earl, former resident of the city of Watervliet, president and owner now of Twin Bridges Recycling and Waste Haulers. The donation was about $280,000 in total. It came at a great time or a great opportunity for the city, as we've been having a lot of problems with the trucks that we currently have on our fleet or in our fleet. So I think it would only be prudent that the council and the mayor that we draft a letter and send a letter of thanks to Mr. Earl. I'll start drafting that tomorrow, have for your signatures no later than the end of the day, early Monday, and we'll get that off to Mr. Earl. But it goes without saying, it was a wonderful donation to the city.
Has anybody thought about a proclamation or some sort of something like that, or is that too much?
Peter, Councilman, it did cross my mind about a proclamation. Something like that, I would prefer that we would present at a meeting and not send it in the mail.
Okay.
Have them at one of our meetings,
Okay.
and make it that way if that's the choice that that we go.
Maybe now is not the time, and certainly there's no in-person meetings and all that, so maybe now is not the time.
Right, and I think we could put that in the letter that we'd like to recognize them via proclamation at a future date once we are able to open up our meetings to the public again.
Just a suggestion. If other people are, just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, it's a great one at that. It's a great.
Nice idea.
Yeah. Another thing, we are moving forward with the new windows for the city hall. We had our meeting today with Dominic Rogusto, who is the architect, and also one of the window purveyors that he was able to secure on other projects that he's been using, especially in historic areas. So we got nice window treatments. We walked all around through the city hall and looked at the various windows. So that'll be going forward. And that was based on the funding that we received from Senator Breslin's office. So we're looking to try to get that completed before the beginning of fall.
Joe, does that include the soffit work too?
No, that did not include the soffit work, but we can include it in there because we do have other monies from the senator that we could probably shift around, and we have other monies from Assemblyman McDonald, but I can have Dominic actually increase the scope by putting in the soffits, because I know they're starting to get wear as well.
They're actually ready to fall down.
Yeah, yes, in some areas they are.
I think it's beyond the wear.
Yeah. Okay, so what I will do then, Mayor, is we'll actually include that in the scope to increase it, and we'll have Dominic do that work as well.
Great.
He's got the specs for all of that all of the treatments anyway for the city hall. So we could definitely add that.
Okay, excellent.
Okay. As for when we reopen City Hall, I know we've been asked independently, and we've been asked at many different places we attend. But City Hall right now, we're looking at a June 15th date anticipated. I reached out to NICOM today, and they don't have any guidance directly. They're looking at the 15th as well. I reached out with our neighboring town of Colony. They're looking at the June 15th date as well. But again, that can be movable because we're not 100% sure as to the guidance that we do get. But we're anticipating a June 15th opening of City Hall again. We'll try to even do things by appointment if that gets pushed back any further. As for citywide things, we're looking at the vacant building maintenance codes. We're working with the building department. Jord and I have been talking about procurement as to having a landscaping RFP. So for our vacant buildings where the grass is high on a number of the vacant buildings throughout the city, we can go out and put them on a wheel and, you know, go and get all these houses cleaned up, bill the property owners, and then if there's no reimbursement of payment, then we put right onto their tax. But we'll be looking to probably go out to an RFP at our next meeting and get that immediately thereafter with all the landscapers, put them on a wheel, and we keep on going down as we get more homes. I'm looking for about 5 vendors to be on that list, and so we can go, keep them all on a wheel and go right down independently. Also, we've been doing some work on drafting design standards for our 19th Street corridor. There's going to be some activities coming up in the near future with the removal of Admiral cleaners. Talking to a business owner today, Mark and I were out on site. He's got some ideas as to facade improvements. So before we get behind the 8 ball, we need to complete those design standards of what we're hoping 19th Street will be. And that includes everything from facade improvements, from textures, from materials and colors that we're going to have. So we'll get that out to the planning board, do a quick interpretation, do a quick training, and get the recommendations over to this council for adoption. So as buildings start to come in, we'll start moving that right away. That's all I have. If there's any questions.
Joe, what is the status with Admiral Cleaners? Do they still have to dig all that up yet?
Yes. So what was needed to be done was done. They took down the building as it was, and now they have to pull up the concrete base that's there and get down about 12 feet below and start doing some sampling. They think that's probably going to be 6 to 8 months out, if not further. But they're going to continue to move at whatever pace the state can at this time.
Okay.
So Mark, if you have anything on the projects, or if you want to talk a little bit about what we were on the streets for today, that might be appropriate as well.
Sure. Thanks, Joe. So first of all, with the ongoing projects, we've got the 9th Avenue lead service line replacement program that's moving forward. We are just north of 18th Street, and we'll be moving right to the intersection of 9th Avenue and 19th Street. Right now, it's a replacement of the old water line, so we're laying the new water line, the water main, that's going to take the place of 9th Avenue. And then once that's done, we'll start again with connecting the laterals to the service to each residence, and then abating the lead water lines that are existing on 9th Avenue and replacing them with new lines. Obviously, the new line replacements are reimbursable through the program. We're going to put together a bid spec, I believe, with the help of Weston and Sampson to put the paving of that project out to bid. Maybe about a week away before we RFP, or we put the paving out to bid for that project. We don't want to let that go too soon, because we've seen in years past that, if we push that into the fall months, it depends on the temperature and the weather, And we want to make sure that we can keep close to a July, August date for the paving of that project. And that'll bring us into the phase two. The phase two is the individual households. We sent the application and the outreach programs to the state for their approval. Once we get approval from the state on those programs, we should be able to put it out there, put an advisory committee together, and start getting to the residents and pushing out to the residents to see who wants their lead water lines replaced. And that'll be done at through the grant with the leftover money from the 9th Avenue project. The second project is the bike trail project. If you've driven down Broadway lately, you can see that they've begun the saw cutting. The saw cutting takes place on the east side of Broadway, and where you see the saw cut, the curb will actually be about 18 inches out into the roadway from that saw cut. We're doing some excavation in the area of 4th Street and Broadway today. There's a couple of hydrants in the area of past no paints that are going to need to be moved. We'll start on that next week. And then the Bullnose Boulevard in front of City Hall, next week, that's probably going to get trimmed back by about 4 or 5 feet because the traffic lane is going to be pushed west. So we'll be pulling in that curbing area to make sure it doesn't obstruct any traffic flow moving forward. So those are the two big projects, and recently we started kind of an outreach program with our local businesses. We set up a conference call on Tuesday of this week to talk about how we might be able to assist the local businesses through the phase 3 reopening program, under the assumption that phase 3 would allow them to start serving inside again, and how we could add to their capacity by using maybe some city property outside and allow the businesses to get more seating and hopefully bring things back to a little bit more normal that they're used to. While we were having that conference call, we were notified that the governor had allowed outdoor seating beginning today. So we worked with a couple of the restaurants. Specifically today, we did Black Bear and Arsenal City Tavern. Black Bear is probably not quite ready. They were still looking at around June 17th based on the governor's order. But the Arsenal City Tavern, if anybody drove by there today, they were actually doing outdoor seating on their deck area. And they have a little area behind the restaurant and in front of the restaurant that they were taking advantage of. Our program is to allow the restaurants to use city property, either sidewalks or streets, to enhance their areas for seating and to give them a little bit more normalcy as it goes to seating. Some of these restaurants are really kind of landlocked, and there's very little space inside. So if you talk about limiting capacity to 50% or 25%, you're only talking about 2 or 3 tables. So it seemed like everybody was very excited about the aspect of doing this. We worked with Jordan today, and in Jordan's defense, usually that's where things come to a screeching halt, but he really worked with us today to get things moving in the right direction. With a lawyer joke.
I don't find that funny.
we got moving forward today. We actually had some outreach to one of the individual restaurants today and getting some paperwork. So we're hoping that we might be able to turn this around rather quickly and get some assistance to these businesses moving forward. And
Hey, Mark, does the Black Bear have any room behind it, or is that alley kind of where the Dunkin' Donuts sort of drive-through is? Is there any room behind the Black Bear?
There isn't. There's very little. There's a paper alley back there that they've used for some ad hoc storage, but it's not really conducive to tables or anything like that.
All right, thanks.
Sure. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, if there's nothing else on the reports and officers and committees, I'll go to old business, and I don't believe there is anything under old business, Dave.
Not this evening, Your Honor.
Okay, then we'll move on to new business.
Your Honor, in new business, we have resolution number 9754. It's a resolution regarding the City of Watervliet Board of Ethics.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move on the resolution.
I'll second that.
Okay, Jordan, you want to just tell us what it is? I know what it is, but just for the record.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the council, this is a resolution that essentially does three things. It authorizes the reappointment of Holly Collette as a member of the City Watervliet Board of Ethics, retroactive to May 3rd of this year. And the term is May 3rd of this year to May 2nd of 2023. The other two provisions of this resolution, it corrects the term of the previous reappointment of Steve Jamrose as a member of the City Watervliet Board of Ethics. His term, May 3rd of 2019 to May 2nd of 2022. And the third provision is to correct the unexpired term for which Robert Heffernan was previously appointed to fill as a member of the Board of Ethics. That term is May 3rd of 2018 to May 2nd of 2021. So as you can see from the original authorization of Chapter 28 of the Code of Ethics, the original appointments way back when were from May 3rd to May 2nd. So we wanted to keep that consistent and correct and inadvertent, calculation in the expiration dates and the terms. Thank you.
Okay, good. Are there any questions on this resolution?
No, I'm all set.
Nope.
All right, then I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilman Torncello,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor.
Your Honor, that concludes the new business for this evening's meeting.
Okay. Anything under appropriations and accounting? Is Amanda on the line here? I would assume not then. Joe, no, nothing under appropriations. That was
Nothing. I know she said she was going to try to call in tonight, but I know she has problems when she's at home. So,
okay.
But she did not have anything anyway to talk about, Mayor, tonight.
Okay, good. All right, just a couple other items I have before we move on is one, we had the swearing in of two new lieutenants at the fire department, Vincent Ellis and Tim Delisle are the new lieutenants for the fire department. We had that swearing in. As we mentioned prior to the meeting, but now we'll have it official to the meeting. We did have we hosted another one of those hot meal, let's say, giveaways at the senior center last night. We gave probably about 260 to 70 meals away. And that was provided by the Feed to Albany group. And I have to thank all the volunteers, especially the Whiteds who went down to Albany to pick it up every week now to grab the meals and bring them back. And of course, the volunteers that handed them out. Today, we also did a regional food bank delivery, a giveaway again for at the Redemption Church, let's say, handled and kind of organized. And I'll tell you, they did an excellent job. They worked hard from 8:30 this morning till 6 o'clock tonight. So hats off to them and all the other volunteers that helped out as well. Let me okay, I think what we can do now is we'll ask the clerk to announce for the public comment period. And Dave, you might want to set the rules on that.
Mayor, can I jump in and say something, please?
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I had a chance to go to the event today, the swearing in of the two lieutenants, and it was great. And I want to echo the comments that you made, that it was so pleasant and refreshing to go to an event finally that was positive in nature, sort of rather than all this negative. But when I was there, I want to know, I saw that the acting chief is on of the police, and I'm not sure if the fire chief was on, but I just wanted to remind them as gently as possible, but also pretty firmly, to encourage their staff, if they can, to wear their masks and to encourage social distancing, that we're still in the midst of this pandemic. And I just kind of remind them, we're all public servants here, and our goal is to keep our citizens safe. And that's really the only goal, that we have in our job. And if we can keep them a little bit safer by wearing masks somehow, I mean, I think it's helpful, even if it's not, we're in a position now where we're relaxing some of the standards, but I think it just shows the public that we care about their health, we care about their safety, and that we're concerned about them when we wear the masks in public as public servants. So, we are relaxing, and I think it's great. I'm very happy. But part of the reason that we got to be where we are, relaxing from phase 2 and phase 3, is because we were so strict with social distancing and wearing the masks. So I know sometimes people don't want to get it, and I understand we can't control the public. But I think for the public servants that work for the city, and again, I would just like to encourage. I'm not going to go crazy, but I think it's worthwhile for the chiefs to encourage their staff to wear them when they're in public. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Dave, Barb, anything from you?
No, Mayor, I'm set. Thank you.
Okay, Dave, then.
At this time, the mayor and the council have authorized a public comment period. We ask that you state your name and address, and you will have 2 minutes to address the council on any items you wish. And Mark, I will let you speak a little bit as to how you want to move forward with that.
Yeah, I think, obviously what we would do is anybody that wants to make the public comment, they can just unmute themselves, introduce themselves with their name and their address, and then go ahead with their public comment.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here that on the Zoom call, on this GoToMeeting call right now that wishes to make a statement or a comment or a question?
I would. My name's Elizabeth Rivera, and I live at 16 Glen Avenue. I haven't been to a city council meeting in quite a while, but just in the wake of what's going on in Minneapolis, I thought it's incumbent upon us as residents of our community just to address what's going on. And I'm really curious to know more about what kind of community policing policies and procedures the city has in place right now. And I did see a post by Lieutenant Strzok on the Facebook page. It was a really, really wonderful post, just posting about what the police force is doing right now in Watervliet. So I guess my main question is, are there written community policing strategies in place, and where can they be found? Are they for public access? And just curious what's going on that front. All done.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
I know Lieutenant Strzok is on. Lieutenant Strzok, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, hi, Beth. So certainly, our department has a focus on community policing as a whole. We don't, unlike other agencies, we don't have dedicated community policing units per se, partly because we are a small department, and we've also adopted the philosophy that all officers should be community policing officers, not just a specific unit. So as far as policies go, we're actually in the process of redoing our entire department policies and procedures. We just, this year, January 1st, we just purchased a program called Power DMS, which allows us essentially the mechanism to upload new policies and distribute it to department members efficiently. So we're currently going through policy overhauls. The last time that's been done has been several years ago. So I'm updating them right now, and I'd appreciate it for definitely. We're going to ask for community input when we get there. And offline, I can share my contact information, and I encourage you to reach out, and we'll talk.
Thank you, Beth. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are there any other any other individuals who wish to make a statement before we close the public comment period? Okay, hearing none. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's meeting. And I will just announce that the next meeting will be on June 18th. And so we'll officially ask that the public comment period be closed. And I'll ask, unless there's anything else from the council or the members here tonight, I'll ask the motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilman Torncello,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor.